Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a land where the law is a whisper in the wind, where every dusty street could be the stage for a gunfight, and where survival meant carrying your courage at all times. This was America's frontier in the 19th century, a place of unrelenting danger and legendary outlaws. Men like Billy the Kid, who lived by the gun, and Wyatt Earp, who enforced justice in towns where chaos ruled. Women like Calamity Jane defied every expectation. This was the Wild West, America's most dangerous era. Today we'll dive deep into the untold stories, the myths, the real-life struggles, and the legends that still echo. By the early 1800s, the U.S. had doubled its territory through the Louisiana Purchase. Explorers like Lewis and Clark charted unknown rivers and mountains, revealing a vast wilderness. Settlers moved westward along trails like the Oregon Trail, facing hostile terrain and extreme weather. The frontier was lawless. Towns were isolated. Sheriffs were often the only authority in hundreds of miles. Justice was sometimes swift and brutal, administered personally rather than through courts. The frontier was a land of freedom, but native tribes, wildlife, and outlaws made survival a daily challenge. For every homesteader who struck it rich, dozens never saw another sunrise. Life demanded courage. Cowboys became the iconic symbol of the West, but their work was grueling. Long cattle drives from Texas to Kansas could last months, covering hundreds of miles. Cowboys faced stampedes, rustlers, and rival gangs daily. One wrong step and death was a heartbeat away. Their gear, a hat, boots, and six-shooter, was essential for survival, not fashion. The community was diverse. African Americans, Mexican vaqueros, and Native Americans all contributed. Saloons, gambling dens, and boarding houses became meeting points, but also centers of violence. The life of a cowboy was a daily gamble. One misplaced shot could end it all. The Wild West is remembered for its outlaws, men whose names became legends through sheer audacity. Billy the Kid, by age 21, had killed at least 8 men. His life was a whirlwind of theft and gunfights. Jesse James and the James Younger Gang terrorized banks and trains, blending crime with folklore heroism. Belle Starr, known as the Bandit Queen, and other female outlaws challenged societal norms. Gunfights erupted over disputes, money, or revenge, often ending in sudden death. Outlaws lived fast. Their legends lived forever, shaping the stories of the West. Join us next time for the Lawmen. As the West expanded, the struggle for order intensified. Many risked life and limb to maintain it. Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, and Wild Bill Hickok became household names for their courage and pursuit of justice. The gunfight at the OK Corral in 1881 symbolized the clash of order and chaos in a sun-baked street. Frontier justice often involved posses, shootouts, and swift trials, sometimes lasting only a few minutes. Sheriffs carried immense responsibility, often outnumbered and outgunned, yet their actions built the foundation of law. Westward expansion brought settlers into constant conflict with native tribes defending their culture. Tribes like the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Apache resisted, defending their land and their way of life. Military campaigns and broken treaties led to devastating losses, including forced relocations like the Trail of Tears. Battles like Little Bighorn highlighted both native resistance and the U.S. military's determination to expand. The frontier was not just a land of opportunity, it was a battlefield where every step came at a profound cost. The discovery of gold in California and silver in Nevada triggered mass migrations across the continent. Towns like Deadwood and Dodge City sprang up overnight. Boomtowns were lawless, chaotic, and often violent. Mining operations brought wealth, but also greed, corruption, and bloodshed over precious resources. Gold and silver promised fortune, but for every miner who struck it rich, many others died trying. Women played crucial roles, running saloons, schools, and households, navigating the dangers alone. Calamity Jane, a scout and sharpshooter, defied gender norms and became a legend of the West. In the West, courage wasn't limited by gender. Women forged paths that left lasting marks on history. Gunfights were sudden and deadly, not choreographed like in the movies. Disputes ended in instant bloodshed. The story of Wild Bill Hickok, killed while playing poker, shows how quickly life could be lost. Towns often depended on vigilante justice when formal law was absent. Every conversation carried weight. Every handshake could carry the weight of life and death. Survival was a gamble at every single turn. By the late 19th century, railroads, telegraphs, and federal presence began to bring order. Remote towns were connected. Railroads and telegraphs made it harder for outlaws to escape. The frontier was changing, becoming more structured. The U.S. Census Bureau declared the frontier closed in 1890, signaling the end of wide-open lawless lands. While gunfights continued, the era of true frontier chaos ended, replaced by structured communities and governance. The Wild West wasn't gone, but its raw, untamed chaos had faded into legend, shaping the imagination of a nation. Cowboys, outlaws, and lawmen became archetypes in films and folklore, symbols of bravery and independence. The era emphasized independence and adventure, values that remain deeply associated with American identity today. Museums, historical towns, and reenactments preserve this history, bridging the gap between fact and myth. The West teaches us that freedom came with risk, courage demanded sacrifice, and legends were forged in blood and dust. From dusty trails to chaotic boomtowns, the Wild West was a crucible of survival, adventure, and legend. These stories remind us that the foundations of modern America were laid in a land where every decision was critical. The Wild West was more than history, it was the proving ground of a nation. Thank you for joining us.